welcome back to Faro Iron & Customs. I'm Michael. I hope everyone is having a great day. Today, I'm getting ready to start chopping the top. And I know, guys, you're going to say, well, Michael, you were working on suspension last week. Shouldn't you continue on and get the steering done? Well, the problem is I don't know how much I'm going to section the truck until I chop the top. And until I section the truck, I won't know where the steering is going to go in the truck. So, you know, these things, sometimes you go kind of out of order to get things to fall into order. So anyway, I'll show you where I'm at. I've already marked off, do not get dollar store tape. It sucks. But I've already marked this off. It is about 4 1/4 inches. I've marked out the back window where I want to cut it out. It's going to drop down. Instead of cutting it and taking any out, I'm going to take 3 inches off the bottom and 1 1/4 inches off the top. And when the truck comes back together, it'll only go down 3 inches. That way it'll kind of stay where it needs to be. I thought about moving it all the way down here, but then that would give this roll, then this roll, and to me, I don't think it would look good. So we got a couple of things we got to do. I do not know if I'm going to continue working today. The farmers are out harvesting their beans, and it is about to drive my allergies absolutely crazy. But before we weld the doors shut, there's these places right here that held the vent window in. We're not going to use the vent window, but they're all the way around. So I don't think that's going to get in the way of the window run channel. I want to cut it as close as I can out this way. That way, I don't know if you can tell, the structure runs down in the door. I want to keep that there for right now until I see if I need it. Also, we have these little pieces right here that hold the back window. They're either going to have to be cut completely out of the truck and remade, or I'm going to have to try to drill them out. So let's get into it. Guys, I don't know if y'all can see that, but that right there is tearing my allergies up. I'm going to go in for today, and we'll get back on it tomorrow. Okay, guys, apparently my other camera is not recording like it's supposed to. So we're going to do what we can with this one. So that guy harvesting beans, I had a nasty allergic reaction to that. So I did get back out here. I'm going to work for just a little while. I don't think I'm going to get everything cut off. I'm going to go ahead and cut the tops off of the doors. We're going to stay true to our tape line, and that should get us pretty close. So I'm going to cut the tops of the doors off, see if I can find something to weld the doors shut. We're not putting a frame inside of it. I already cut the braces to the window out. Oh, I still got to cut. I'll have to untape that door and do it again. Well, but that's what we're going to do. All right, guys, I got the doors welded shut, got the tops chopped off. When you're doing a top, you need to cut the top cut first because if you don't, you'll have to find something to set the top on to cut the bottom of it off. So you cut the top, then you cut the bottom. I've already cut down past these door pillars where I can't get to. So all I got to do is finish those cuts. But I'm going to cut this window out first. Okay guys, we got the back window cut out yesterday and cut out the section below it. I left this section in so I'll be able to probably trim it and have somewhere to put Clecos when I get ready to put it back together. I've marked off the roof where I want to cut the center out on most cars. Your roof will come down and then it will have to split 4 ways for it to completely sit down. And because of the shape of the roof, this one does too. I mean, you can do the one where you tilt the A pillars back and reshape the B pillars, but one is just about as much work as the other. Actually, I know that I'm going to try and make a new roof skin for this truck. So we're going to get it going back together. Then I'm going to get the English wheel out and cut out a piece of steel, and we're going to try to make a new roof panel for this truck anyway. So, so we can overlap, you know, because it's going to be probably spread out probably 3 to 4 inches going across the middle from front to back, and from side to side it's also about 3 to 4 inches that it'll spread out. Y'all see when we get there. I'm going to cut this top out. I know it's going to be noisy. Like I said, I'm going to cut the top skin out and split, and then I'll bring y'all back in and kind of show y'all when we get to a point where it's not like so loud. All right, guys, I got all those cuts made except for the front. I haven't taken the mirror out, so once I get these 2 pieces out, I'll probably try to get that mirror out to get the front out. It's got to be, or I may take it out in one piece. I don't know. So if you're doing this, try to make your cuts as straight as absolutely possible. I drew straight edge lines, followed the lines, just took my time. I think I've used 2 zip blades so far today. I used a blade back here, so 3 zip blades so far. I'm going to go ahead and cut this section out, and I'm going to start. It runs all the way inside the truck. We're going to cut here and take the top part loose. I think I need to find something to keep it from falling. Be right back. All right, guys, this could go completely wrong, but we're just trying to keep it from falling. Okay, guys, so that's everything except for splitting the top in half, the front in half. And once I get it down and get the mirror off, we're going to do that. I made a couple of mistakes. Let's see, that one over there, I chopped it up pretty bad. We're probably going to have to do a repair, but we'll see when everything starts going back together. All right, guys. I'm going to stop for tonight, but that's where I got to. I've spent a bunch of time. Like I said, some of the gaps ain't right. And we're going to get in here tomorrow night and do a bunch of measurement, see which corners need to move before we finally get everything, get back into place. All right, guys, so we're back, and we're back at it. Yesterday, I got out here and I welded this side of the truck in, and guys, it was a total pain in the butt, but it came out pretty decent. It did dive over here. We may have to try to stretch it a little bit when we get ready to put the back window in. This metal is very thin, I need to measure it. I don't know if we lost the thickness because of the rust, probably. So it is hard to weld. It's also hard to weld probably because of the rust. So I'm going to start on this side. The welding I did yesterday, I used the Titan 125, the flux core welder. I was going to try to do this whole project with a flux core welder. I'm just not getting the results that I want. We're going to try to run gas. Like I said, I don't know how much of this I'm going to actually record because it doesn't translate to really good video watching bunches and bunches of welds. But let me go turn the gas on. What I'm trying to do is get this seam right behind the door. I just started watching Voodoo Larry's live stream from yesterday on YouTube. On Facebook. It was a 4-hour live stream from yesterday, so I hate I missed that. But it looks like that's going to be a really good, interesting build. They cut the roof in one spot, and he said he was going to remake the sail panels. Like I said, I want to watch that whole thing. That looked very interesting. Definitely need more gas. Alright guys, what I'm trying to do here is the stack attack method that Carl at Make It Customs uses. What I'll do is lay down a tack. This welder is not getting great penetration. It's almost, with this welder, it almost seems like you need a gap. With the other welder, if you had a tight gap, it was what you needed to do. This welder has just not got the penetration that other welder's got. And it's going to be a completely different experience. Yeah, matter of fact, I think I'm going to turn the heat up, and that means I got the heat turned all the way up on this welder. Even on high, it's not doing a really good job. I don't know if y'all saw that. As that gap opened up, it started falling in there. So I'm thinking that's what the secret is with this particular welder, is it's going to need a gap to fill. Alright guys, this welder is completely different than the Harbor Freight welder. It seems like even with it turned up on 4, I may need to turn the wire speed down, but when I turn the wire speed down, it don't seem like it's enough, it's flowing enough. I'm going to turn it back down and try it again. But it's just not really got the penetration that the other welder did. So, and these are big welds, so that means it's going to take a while to grind. I'm going to play with this for a while and we'll bring you back. Okay guys, I got this much welded up and it's starting to pull. I'm thinking it'll be prudent to go ahead and weld the roof together. I may be wrong. So we're going to get this tacked in place. And what I'm going to do is use these. I've had these from Harbor Freight for a good long while. I know a lot of people don't use this because they don't like filling in the gap. But since my welder seems like it just doesn't like, you know, getting good penetration on this, I may have to buy another welder at some point. But, you know, that's life. Anyway, let's get this set up and we'll come back. All right, guys. I never got back on this side and finished it. I did kind of do some shaping, got the back window just clamped into place. It's ready to weld. I'm going to stop on that for right now. I don't know if y'all can tell on camera, it dips a little bit, so we may have to cut this back loose and rework that. But before I move into that, I want to take the front apart and I'm going to take the front back apart. It actually looks pretty good. The only thing is I want to put something down inside the A-pillars, and I'm going to use the exhaust tubing I got when I made the headers. On Fitzy's video, he used the piece that he cut out of the A-pillar and cut it down to fit inside. But we're going to use this piece with the drip rail to go back in right there. So we're going to save that. And like I said, I'm going to use a piece of pipe in here. Most of the time, you see people doing chops, they do put something in the A-pillar for reinforcement. You know, guys, I'm not judging anybody's welding. I know everybody is knows they're capable of what they're capable of. But like I said, most people I see, even Voodoo Larry's chopped the other day, he put a piece of pipe in here. So we're going to get this back apart and do that. All right, guys, you can see where I'm at. I just took and ovaled this pipe so it would slip down in here nice. I've actually got to pull the top back off on the other side real quick because I wanted to do some welding. Actually, I think it's going to be fine. I'm gonna run with it. So I haven't seen anybody do this, but I thought it would be prudent to go ahead and plug weld the pipe to the post. That way it doesn't go anywhere. So the only weld I put is this one right here. I just put a tack there to keep it from going anywhere. We've got to do a little work here. So let me get the other side caught up and we'll come back. All right, guys. Another thing I saw on Larry's video, except for I think he used 1 inch or he may have used a different size. What I found, I don't know if y'all can see that, there's a lip right here inside the inner door skin and a piece of 3/4 square stock fits perfectly in that lip. So as you can tell, I don't know if you can see over there, I've got clamps holding it in all directions. I've got a clamp on the drip rail on the outside to keep it lined up. Guys, that's the best I can do. I can sight down it, look, my vision ain't great. I'll think it looks perfect in here. Get it outside and it looks like crap. But I think that looks fine. I'm gonna weld it. All right, guys, give me just a minute and I'll show you where we're at. Today, we're gonna start on the right side, getting the right side of the roof welded back together. I did the left side last night just to get an idea about what it was going to take to do it, so I'd, you know, potentially be able to, you know, show y'all better how to do it. So what we're using to fill in that space is the section that we cut out of the right side A-pillar, because it's got this piece of drip rail in here. And where we're going to have to cut it, you got to cut it here, and you've got to cut it along this line right here because it will not match up with the inside line. We're going to have to make another piece to go inside the truck, but we can't do that until we get back in the truck. So I'm going to chop this off and then I'll bring y'all back. Okay, guys, I've got this piece cut out. I've reshaped this edge took some of the crown out of it, and as you see, it fits right in here pretty good. We're going to have to do a little more shaping once we get it in here, but it's really close. I've gone back. I started back yesterday using the Titan 125, the flux core welder. It's doing better than my gas welder is. It's not doing prettier welds. It's just not, you can do a smaller weld, if that makes any sense. And there's going to be some cleanup, but all right, I'm going to get the welder fired up, and I'm going to start welding this in, and we'll bring y'all back in just a few minutes. All right, guys, I don't know if y'all can see that well. I'm just over here at my pipe anvil. I made this on the channel. You know, if y'all are interested, go back and look at that. This is the quote-unquote Gene Winfield style pipe anvil. I think y'all can see me there now, maybe. I need some more light in this spot of the shop. So we're just trying to put some bend in this. And it's got more down towards the top of the cab. And from last night, doing this last night, I know that, ooh, I got a little overzealous there. But once you get a bend going, you can kind of straighten it back out. But that bend goes all the way around to the top of the cab. Guys, this thing dove on me, the left side. Did I show you all that yet? So it turned out pretty good. It dove a little bit, but when I make the top, it's probably going to come all the way to here. So we're probably going to cut most of that out. I am planning on wheeling up a new roof panel for this. Got to push myself outside my normal limits. And I highly recommend that everyone else do the same thing every chance you get. So we are just trying to get this to take shape of the roof skin. This may take me a while. And we are going from here to here. So we definitely need to take quite a bit of that bend out. Like I said, this is going to take a fair amount of time. It took me probably 20 to 30 minutes last night just to get this shape. We're pretty close right there. I'm going to work on it. If you can see, we got a little bit of a rise right there. I'm going to work on it and we'll come back. All right, guys. So I'm using these clamps that I got from Harbor Freight. And I know there's, a lot of guys say they don't like these. I actually kind of like them because they'll go ahead and get your butt flush. And, it does give you a gap, but the way I'm welding, it gives somewhere for the weld to go. So basically on this roll right here, it can stand a lot more heat than welding across a straight piece. So what I'm doing, try not to blow a hole in it. And I will just guys, I'm not looking at the weld, I'm closing my eyes. You will burn the back of your eyelids doing that stuff, so just be aware. Or the front of your eyelids. And there's very little weld, and it's got good penetration on the inside. So, because I got the heat turned up really high, I'm just going really slow. I'm going to let that cool. and move on to the next section. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and move these back. And now it will tighten up on you, so you got to be aware that it will shrink. This one's not quite perfect, so it needs to have a little bit done to it. So I'm going to get this welded up, and it will come back. Okay, guys, so unfortunately that's going to be it for this week. This is as far as I got, and I was actually out here last night. As you can see, it's kind of started to dive, and what it's doing is pulling, shrinking, and it's pulling the metal together. Now, on a MIG weld, you're not really supposed to planish the welds because supposedly they're harder than a TIG or oxy weld and will crack. You know, and I have no reason to doubt that. I've actually tried to planish the welds on the other side, and they did crack. So I did work on it just a few minutes tonight, planishing right through the middle of this, which was stretching out the piece of metal, and it has relaxed the that dip a good bit. In the next video, my plan is to make the roof skin, and it's probably going to take out most of that dive anyway. And when we get ready to weld it in, we're going to have to weld it really slowly. And it may take several days just to get that panel welded in. Each one of these sides has been taking me about 2 to 3 hours to get welded in. It is November. I am sweating. Anyway, but so come back next week and we'll roll up a panel. The wife has agreed to help me wheel up a roof skin for this. So that's the next thing, is wheeling up a roof skin and finishing up the top. Anyway, I'm figuring this is going to be a 3-part video series. The first part of the chop, making the panel for the roof, and doing the finishing, and it may end up being 4 parts. Depends on how long it takes. Like I said, it's taken me a little bit of time. Probably been working on it 2 to 3 hours every night this week, and I'm a little burned out today. That's the reason why I'm not finishing the front of the roof. Just, you know, if you feel like you don't need to work on something, you probably don't need to work on it. So that's it for right now. I'll see y'all next time.